Welcome to the Valedictory service for the class of 2020. Please be seated. Our Valedictory service is delayed and in a very different context. And take it from me, church was never like this for me either. It's in a significant marker in the lives of a remarkable group of young people. Our service is an act of thanksgiving to God, which will proceed unannounced following the order of service. We will conduct the service as usual. However, after the presentation of student Bibles and affirmation letters, we will then conduct the Year 12 prize-giving ceremony before following on with the charge and then the end of the service. So let us come to this moment in prayer. Let us pray. God and Creator of all, this moment for which these our students have worked and of which they have dreamed is here at last. Their school years reach an end. The tomorrow for which they have prepared in mind and spirit is now awaiting them, and there is a future opening before them. And in this moment we hold them in our hearts and spirits. And because of who we hold you to be in faith, we offer our hope and trust that you will be there in times of struggles and doubt. You will be there in success and celebration, waiting in ways as hidden and ordinary, as colourful and as many as they are surprising. Amen.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. May the road rise to meet you. May the winds be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields, soft upon your fields. May the joy you bring to others be multiplied to you, and may all the days of your life be filled with peace.
May the road rise to prayer of thanksgiving. Our lives are a journey with others. We travel as a people, sharing our experiences, our hopes and fears, our dreams, and our future plans.
Thank you for our families and special friends who have revealed to us the greatest love of all, in the nurture they have provided and the sacrifices they have made for our preparation as we enter a new dimension in our lives.
God of the journey, we thank you for those who stood by us when discouragement was at the door, who have supported us, who fired our determination, who believed in us.
As we now conclude this chapter of our lives, we pray. God of all our futures, God of our Lord Jesus Christ, grant us your blessings and keep us in faith. We have grasped that we may follow you not only as the one who goes ahead, but the one who continues to journey with us.
As we let go, let us be content to always be learning the meaning of your way as we walk in it. Amen.
God's love for us in all things. From the letter to the early Christian community in Rome, chapter 8, verses 31 to 39. What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? God, who did not spare his own Son, but sent him to us for all of us, how will he not also, along with him, graciously be with us in all circumstances? Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship, or persecution or famine, or nakedness or danger or sword? No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Jesus Christ our Lord.
So it falls to me as school chaplain to reflect on those words for a moment. But before I do, can I tell you, this is personal for me. Today marks the end of 17 years as a parent of Westminster students. The fifth of my 5 children is amongst you. I want to begin by showing you 3 images that have something in common. Here's the first of them. That in-flight data map on a long overnight international flight. Now, I have regularly travelled to the Middle East, not America as this shows, but I can never sleep on an international flight. And I don't know about you, but I don't find that map on the screen in front of me very helpful. You think you've actually dozed off and had some sleep, and when you open your eyes and look up, the plane has inched along that much, and the time clock says you've been asleep for 4 minutes. It makes the time pass ever more slowly. But here's another image closer to home. This is on a train, and some of you may have even used the train in your Westminster years. Leaving Ascot Park, a dour man's recorded voice says, "Next stop, Marion." And you begin to gather your things together and ready to depart the train. And finally, this one might be more familiar to Australian road travellers. This is the Mallee Highway, leaving Pinaroo, and I drove it last October. I was on my way to the Manangatang races, but that's another story that I won't go into right now. These 3 images are all of markers on a journey. Pointers which say that this is where you're up to. Pause here for a moment. Update and check. Take a moment to look forward at what's ahead and to look back at what is gone. And that's what today's valedictory service for the year 2020 Year 12 group is. Likely the last time that you'll be gathered together as a group of students. Your final shared activity. And what a year it has been and continues to be. But this is a marker on your journey of life, a pause, a time to look back and reflect, a time to look ahead and hope. Your school years are at an end. And I want to suggest to you that this is a good occasion to remember. Remember not just all those assemblies that you've sat through, not just all the music and dance performances, all the student achievements, academic and sporting, not just Mr. Wallage's one last thing at the end of assembly to either fill in the time to lunch or take up some of your lunchtime. I want to suggest that you remember not looking back, but looking ahead. Let me explain. Remembering isn't just making sure not to forget. Like, that's right, I must remember to send Hannah that snap, or I must remember to get petrol for the car. Remembering can also be momentarily going back, looking at the scenes of your life, returning to where you have come from, and taking up what is important for the road ahead. Perhaps a better word for it might be recall. A lot of spiritual traditions and practices are about remembering. Remembering the common stories that shape us. Remembering the teaching that's been handed on and the values that we hold. Remembering with heart, mind and soul. In the key sacraments of the Christian tradition, baptism and communion, we are in faith remembering. Remembering who Christ is and what that means for us. All of which strengthens and equips us for what lies ahead. Here's a wonderful example from Lion King. You know the story from childhood. Simba has seen his father, the great Mufasa, killed and is now away from the Pride Lands. His identity and position lost when the wise Rafiki comes to him and leads him in this moment. Simba remembers. He remembers who he is, and he returns to take his place in the circle of life. Remembering like this is active. It leads to doing something. Not every day, not moment by moment, not to say as you pour milk on your Weet-Bix one morning, you'll say, oh, that's right, I remember Westminster School, I went there. It doesn't happen like that. But it happens when you pause to reflect. Allow yourself a moment to call to mind. Let the remembering shape who you are. So let me point to you 3 markers on the journey. Let me offer for you 3 things to remember. First, remember now that you are Westminster Old Scholars. Remember, Westminster is and always will be where you went to school. You can't change that now. And being a former student of Westminster will hold different meanings for each of you. For some, to be a Westminster Old Scholar will be of dear significance. For others, life will quickly move on. But for all of you, it now becomes a part of your story, an element in who you are. Daughter of, son of, partner of, Westminster Old Scholar. Second, remember who and what has made you that. The teachers who cared and gave their time and effort for your best outcome. Remember the opportunities in so many areas that have come your way through being a Westminster student. Learning, playing, growing, attempting, achieving. Remember the commitment of your parents to have had you here in the first place. Remember what Westminster has given to you and seek to give back. Long ago, St. Francis of Assisi made the wise observation, it is in giving that we receive. Might it be for you, as a Westminster student, it is in receiving that I also give. And third, and finally, remember the gift-like nature of life itself. You didn't earn it. You don't deserve it. It was given to you. Let it be for you the sign of God's goodness or grace. As St. Paul wrote to the early Christian community in Rome, the letter that now bears their name, a portion of which Mr. Shepherd has just read for us. No matter what lies before us or behind us, I am convinced that there is nothing that will be able to separate us from the love of God which we have seen in Christ Jesus our Lord. That is why we've asked you to come each week to chapel as part of your learning and growth at Westminster. That is why we close your school life with a church service. Because it's important, however you conceive God to be, to at least consider the possibility, to ask the bigger questions of life, to receive life as a gift and think about who is the giver. Now, I cannot know the futures ahead for all of you. Courses of study, paths of relationship, careers, or even the challenges and troubles you may face. But St. Paul, who wrote these words, had, we know, in his experience, imprisonment for his faith, opposition and beatings at the hands of the Roman oppressors, shipwreck, including once spending 24 hours in the water, the dangers of travel and the toil of hard labour. Yet Paul could say nothing that ever kept him from the love of God. And a final side note here. The school's gift to you to mark your time spent here at Westminster, a Westminster Valedictory Bible. To remember. Now, I know what you may be thinking. We've got a couple of these on the shelf at home, and I couldn't tell you that they were worn out. The Bible is an odd, even a dangerous book, a compilation. It's a small library, actually. But what it is the Bible is the people's remembering of God in their stories of faith. If you do ever pick it up to read it, don't start right at the beginning. That's kind of weird, ancient stuff. Turn over to what's called the Gospels, the teaching of Jesus, the ageless message of love and peace. There's actually some really good stuff in here. So, remember. Actively remember. That might have some practical implications for you, like keeping in touch and coming back to visit occasionally, or sending an update to a teacher who has shown interest in your path ahead, even taking a hand in old scholars. But what I'm talking about here is a deeper matter. It's a spiritual one. Remember where you've come from. You once spent your days at Westminster School. Remember, it is now a part of who you are and lies within your stories. Deo Duce, God be your leader. Amen.
As Reverend Phil, thank you very much, just alluded to, we now move to presenting the Bible to the valedictorians, to the students who are graduating. And it is a book which is there for you as a guide, and we never know when you're going to need it. So we do encourage that you do put it on your bookshelf or treat it like a torch. Anytime things are a bit dark and you might need some light or some guidance, have a look for it and see if it can help you. If it doesn't, don't forget we're all still here for you. We start with Mr. Orman.
Good evening. It is my great privilege to present to you the Carter class of 2020. Callum Andrews. Benjamin Brown. Hamish Caudle. Riley Chapman. Erin Charman. Nathaniel Drummond. Tyler Ebert. Bianca Facundo. Josh Gomez. Jaden Grosser. Erin Hasty. Peter Nedelkos. Prachi Shrestha. Hannah Venturi. And Oscar Williams.
I'm delighted to present to you the 2020 Clark cohort. Rihanna Barney. Harvey Bock. Sophia Bollock, who is absent, and Sebastian Cox. Isabella England. Alessio Maiolo. Travis Micken. Amy Mohapatra, who is absent. Emily Nolis. Curtis Senior. Sugi Victor, who is absent. Ella Wagner. Rowan Whitford. Jack Worrell. Daniel Zeffi. Henrik Zeffi. And Ichu Zhang, who is absent.
It is my great pleasure to present the Dunstan House Class of 2020. Jade Barlas. She must be absent. I didn't realise. Ethan Criares. Adam Davis. Brannon Dominikovic, who was absent. Max Gazard. Betty He, who was absent. Ruby Liptak. Tim Middleton. Claire Rose. Gus Thompson. Belle Watson. Campbell Watson. Alice Wyness. and Esther Zhang, who is absent.
I'm delighted to present to you the Faraday class of 2020. Riley Brown. Alan Chen. Gemma Dandy. Caitlin Edwards. Harry Leaker. Amy Liu. Elise Long. Clara Muscle. Jordan Nicole. Braden O'Brien, who is absent, and James Rycroft. Kurt Schenk. Mia Segal, who is absent. Darren Shee. Mitch Turner, who is absent, and Olivia Zima.
I am very proud to present to you the Forder class of 2020. Kane Baldwin. Luke Jornay. Jared Fairbairn. Joel Fogarty. Jack Forrest. Luke Jornay. Natasha Gardiakos. Maddie Higgins. Amy McDonald, who is absent. Tallulah Nagel. Thomas Reardon. Amber Smith. Alex Wilcox. Anna Wilson, who is absent, and Freya Young.
It is my pleasure to present the Fricker House of 2020. Louisa Alameo. Amelia Anderson. Max Curry. Blade Pandon. Gemma Francis. Congratulations. Matthew Gatford. Ebony Harper. Adam Kleinig, who's absent tonight, and William House. Luke McCranna. Riley Pratt. Ryan Puckridge. Emily Small. India Smart. George Turnbull. And Hannah Young.
It gives me great pleasure to present the Heaslip graduates for 2020, starting with Jared Ballinger. Lucy Dixon's not here. We'll move on to Chloe Du Bois. Yolanda Fang is also not here, so we're moving on to Morgan Gennicus. Angus Llewellyn. Morgan. Congratulations. Rihanna Rawat. Can I also mention a few of the students who couldn't be here with us tonight? There is Maddie Rasmussen, Alex Walker-Hart, and Tong Mon Michok. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to present the Jeffreys class of 2020. Sam Blisno. Tim Blisno. Kit Cheeseman-Dutton. Matthew Cock. Tamsin Conway. Patrick Davison. In absentia, Declan Ellis. Macy Giles. Willis Hammond-Brown. Braden Hodge. Alex Lake. Liam Meaney. Emily Metty. Jade Pearson-McKenzie. Siddharth Selvakumaran. Grace Taplin. Claire Zhang.
I'm honoured to present to you the class of 2020 from Kelly House. Tori Donnelly. Ben Dorey. Alec Glynn. Lewis Hoffman. Jack Hutt. Xander Jennings. May Johnson. Samuel Keneally. Euthemios Logothetis. Millie Munt. In absence, Costa Nikos. Riley Nixon Burns. Joshua Panaya. Sienna Rouvray. Luke Simmons. Zoe Smith. And Oliver Snowd.
I am delighted to present the Woolacott House class for 2020. Lauren Ambler. Lucy Ashworth. Connor Blackwell. Emily Close. Mark Ducage. Alicia Elliott. Annie Firth. Rachel Sanders. Andrew Scheid. Ella Sylvie. Ella Simpson is absent. Callum Smith. Kane Visca.
In one of the most lovely parts of the evening, we now ask the class of 2020 to please stand. To turn around and face your nearest and dearest, those people who are here with you tonight supporting you. And I'll ask us all to acknowledge the class of 2020.
You can sit down now, guys, so you can turn around. Could I just ask if you are receiving a prize, just to move off to the side of the stage now. If you're receiving one prize, then receive it, then take your seat back where you are now. If you're receiving more than one prize, then you need to move back to the side of stage and you'll receive that second or third award, depending how many you're getting, and just wait to be called for your next award. So please move there now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Going to be announcing the awards in small groups, after which there'll be a small pause. I'll pause and then we'll have a round of applause for just that group, who will then move off the stage, and then we'll move on to the next round. So the following Year 12 students have received awards for academic achievement or excellence, starting with Rihanna Barney, Principal's Award for Academic Excellence. Harvey Bock, Emily Close, Tyler Ebert, they've gone. I'll go. And Caitlin Edwards. And although those students have moved off the stage, we're going to congratulate them now. And could future students stay on the stage for the small group until we congratulate you so that we can take photos, etc. Thank you. So we're going to move on. Isabella England. And Annie Firth. That's probably the first time I've got that right all year. Thank you. Natasha Gardiakos. Madison Higgins, a Principal's Award for Academic Excellence. And Amy Liu. And we'll now congratulate this group of students. Thank you. And now we have Ruby Liptak, and Timothy Middleton, Peter Nedelkos, and Rihanna Rawat. Please congratulate this group of students. Thank you. And next we have Sienna Rouvray. And Kurt Schenk. Mia Segal, who is absent. Rowan Whitford. And Freya Young. A round of applause for these students. Thank you. So the following students have received a SACE Stage 2 Subject Prize, an Academic Achievement or Principal's Award for Excellence. For Accounting, Business and Enterprise, Angus Thompson. For Agricultural Production, Riley Chapman. For Ancient Studies History, Drama and an Academic Achievement Award, India Smart. For Biology, Chinese Continuous English Literary Studies and a Principal's Award for Academic Excellence, Alicia Elliott. For Chemistry, the Sinclair Award for Chemistry, Chinese Background Speakers, English as an Additional Language and a Principal's Award for Academic Excellence, Claire Zhang. And for Creative Arts Art, Ella Sylvie. And we'll congratulate this group of students. Thank you. For Creative Arts Design and an Academic Achievement Award, Darren Shee. And for Creative Arts Photography, Ebony Harper. For Dance and an Academic Achievement Award, Zoe Smith. For Design Technology, Digital Communication Solutions and a Principal's Award for Academic Excellence, Elise Long. For Design, Technology, Industry and Entrepreneurial Solutions, Sebastian Cox. And for Design, Technology, Material Solutions, Fashion, Amy Mohapatra, who I believe is absent. If we could congratulate this group of students, thank you. For Design, Technology, Material Solutions, Metal and Mathematics General, Angus Llewellyn. And for Design, Technology, Material Solutions, Wood, Jack Forrest. For Economics, Essential Mathematics and an Academic Achievement Award, Grace Taplin. For English and a Principals Award for Academic Excellence, Alice Winus. For Essential English, Tallulah Nagel. And for Food and Hospitality, Amy MacDonald, who is absent. If we could congratulate this group of students, thank you. For German continuers, Tamsin Conway. For Japanese continuers, Music Performance Ensemble and a Principals Award for Academic Excellence, Yolanda Fang, who is absent. For Legal Studies and a Principals Award for Academic Excellence, Louisa Alameo. For Mathematical Methods, Physics and a Principals Award for Academic Excellence, Samuel Blisno. For Modern History, Academic Achievement Award Stage 2 Geography, Global Studies from Open Access College, George Turnbull. For Music Studies and an Academic Achievement Award, Emily Nolis. And for Music Performance Solo, Joshua Panaya. If we could congratulate this group of students, thank you. And moving on, we have Outdoor Education, which is for Campbell Watson. Physical Education and an Academic Achievement Award, Amelia Anderson. For Psychology and an Academic Achievement Award, Jade Pearson Mackenzie. For Specialist Mathematics and a Principals Award for Academic Excellence, Timothy Blisno. And for Visual Arts Art and an Academic Achievement Award, Esther Zhang, who is not here. If we could congratulate this group of students, thank you. And before we move on, Mr. Wallage and I have decided that we would like the first group of students who didn't get the photo taken to come up on the stage so that Mr. Trenorden can take your photo. So that first group of students, please, who just walked through. You need a reminder? One sec. Rihanna Barney, Harvey Bock, Emily Close, Tyler Ebert and Caitlin Edwards. Could you come back to the stage, please? And we'll give you another round of applause and a photo. The Certificate 3 in Dance was introduced in 2019 as an option for students who had successfully completed their Stage 2 dance studies in Year 11 through the Extension Dance programme. In line with Westminster School's strategic plan, blended pathways consisting of a combination of traditional SACE subjects and vocational education and training courses are being offered to our students. The Certificate 3 in Dance is the first qualification to be offered and delivered and assessed on site. It has been delivered at Westminster School under an agreement with the Australian Teachers of Dancing Limited and is a nationally recognised qualification contributing towards SACE completion and achievement of an ATAR, whilst providing a bridge between secondary and tertiary studies. It gives us great pleasure to recognise the achievements of the 2020 cohort studying this certification. The following students have completed a Certificate 3 in Dance. Lucy Ashworth. Rihanna Barney, Tallulah Nagel, Amber Smith, Alice Wyness, and Freya Young. Let's congratulate this group of wonderful dancers. And the following students have been awarded a Bond University Collegiate Scholarship for Excellence. Ruby Liptak, the Vice-Chancellor's Scholarship. Kane Baldwin, the Excellence Scholarship. And Timothy Middleton, the Excellence Scholarship. Thank you. If you could congratulate this group of students.
The next lot of awards are for activities within our co-curricular program. Firstly, the Duke of Edinburgh's Gold Awards. The following students have completed the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award, which is presented to students who have met and fulfilled the criteria in the following areas of service to others, outdoor pursuits, leadership, physical recreation and personal skills. Lauren Ambler. Kane Baldwin. Samuel Blisno. Timothy Blisno. Harvey Bock. Willis Hammond Brown. Tamsin Conway. Would you please congratulate these students? Continuing on, Jack Forrest. Joshua Gomez. Ebony Harper. Ruby Liptak. Luke McCranna. Timothy Middleton. Amelia Amunt, sorry. Emily Knowles. All right, we'll squeeze the next lot on, I think. Riley Pratt. Thomas Reardon. Kurt Schenk. Siddharth Selvakumaran. Sit. Good man. Luke Simmons. Campbell Watson. And Alice Swinus. Please congratulate these students. School colours are awarded to students who have shown exceptional contributions to an area of school life through skill, leadership and service. This is above and beyond the normal expectation. For athletics and music, Samuel Blisno. For athletics and music, Timothy Blisno. For athletics and netball, Ruby Liptak. Basketball, Emily Close. Dance, Lucy Ashworth. Dance, Rihanna Barney. Dance, Zoe Smith. Dance, Freya Young. Drama, Blade Farndon. Drama, Rowan Whitford. And drama, India Smart. Would you please congratulate these students? Football, Kane Baldwin. Football, Harvey Bock. Football, Jaden Grosser. Music and soccer, Hamish Caudle. Music, Gemma Dandy. Music, Joshua Gomez. Music, Riley Nixon Burns. Music, Emily Nolis. Music, Joshua Panaya. Would you please congratulate these students? Netball, Amelia Anderson. Service, Siddharth Selvakumaran. Soccer, Callum Andrews. Swimming, Callum Smith. And tennis, Ebony Harper. Would you please congratulate these students? The Angela Cash Volleyball Shield, Ruby Liptak. The Graham Brown Volleyball Shield, Ryan Puckridge. Courtney Shield for boys soccer, Callum Andrews. David Jarman Music Award, Joshua Gomez. David Wallage Trophy for First 18 Football, Harvey Bock. The Friends of the Australian Ballet Essay Award for Dance, Rihanna Barney. The Carolyn Obst Award for Contribution to Dance, Freya Young. Would you please congratulate these students? The Ian Caldecott Memorial Trophy, awarded to Ruby Liptak. Not that quick, Ruby, if you got this for athletics. The Jenny Cheeseman Prize for Excellence in Girls Basketball, Emily Close. The Jessup Shield for Cricket, Jack Hutt. The Kirsty Ray Memorial Award for Performing Arts, Emily Nolis. Opie Shield for Swimming, Callum Smith. The Powell & Co Shield for Girls Soccer, Clara Mussell. Principal's Art Prize awarded to a Year 12 art student for their individual piece of art. For photography, Tong Nguyen Mi Chok, who I think is back home. And for the painting is Esther Zhang, who is also absent. Would you please congratulate these students? The Round Square Service Award for the King Constantine Medal, Riley Chapman. Malcolm George Weston Award, Alexandra Walker Hart and Angus Llewellyn. I think Alex is away. Head of Senior School Award, Ruby Liptak. The S.F. Heaslip Award, Callum Smith. Would you please congratulate these students? And for the last 5 awards, we will actually applaud these students individually as they come up on stage. Firstly, for the Caltex Best All-Rounder Award, this is donated by the Caltex Australia for a student recognised at Year 12 level who participates in a wide range of school activities, does not necessarily display champion qualities in any single pursuit, but shows commitment, a willingness to participate and a desire to always do their best. This award rewards the student's total achievement in the school and community. The winner is an excellent role model for fellow students, Kane Baldwin. Douglas Highmore Forder Award, commemorating the name of the Foundation headmaster, the late Douglas Highmore Forder. The award is presented for consistent excellence in attitude and for displaying such qualities as integrity, good manners, courage and honesty. May Johnson. Chairman of Council Award, awarded to a senior student who has given outstanding service to the school community during their time at Westminster. Ruby Liptak. And the Principal's Award, awarded to the school captain in recognition of their leadership and service to the school. Kane Baldwin.
Deo Duque, you have never waited for us to be perfect before showing us the mercy of your love or sending us to serve the world. On this special occasion, we pray for the graduation class of 2020. Stir the flame of the gifts you have given them without reserve. As your followers, make known the freedom to move into the unknown and the untried, to see the opportunities of the new day and to serve the present age with compassion, courage and imagination. Amen.
We light this candle for your journey. Stretch out your hands and feel the warmth of the light. It is the warmth of the love of God for you. That love will surround you wherever you go and give you courage for the next step of your journey. Go knowing that God always journeys with you. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. In the name of Christ. Amen.
Just please stand while the class of 2020 leaves. Thanks.
If the students can follow either Kane or Ruby, and then we'll follow afterwards. Thanks.
Okay, thank you everyone for being part of that service. Basically now, between 6:30 and and sort of 7, it's time people will move in who haven't been here. You've obviously got your seats. The bars will open pretty shortly, so you'll be able to get yourself a drink, which I'm sure you're looking forward to. Just a reminder, just because of COVID and restrictions, you do need to be seated when you're drinking, so you can move to the bar, get yourself a drink, and then be seated. There are seats at the back also if you'd like to sit there. And there's also just a QR code on your tables. If you haven't done so, can you please make sure you scan that and just register that you're here? And at 7 o'clock, we'll do the official welcome for the dinner and get those proceedings started. So enjoy. If you haven't grabbed your name badge, they're up the front in the foyer, so you'll be able to grab that and put that on. If there's any other issues, then please come and see me during the night, but we'll welcome you officially at 7 o'clock, so thank you.
I found a way to let you in, but I never really had a doubt. Standing in the light of your halo, forgot my angel now. It's like I've been awakened, every rule I had you breaking. It's a risk that I'm taking. I ain't never gonna shut you out. Everywhere I'm looking now, surrounded by your embrace. Baby, I can see your halo. You know you're my saving grace. You're everything I need and more. It's written all over your face. Baby, I can see your halo. Pray you won't fade away. Through my darkest night, you're the only one that I want, and I'm addicted to your light. I swore I'd never fall again, but this don't even feel like falling. Gravity can't forget to pull me back to the ground again. It's like I've been awakened, every rule I had you breaking. It's a risk that I take.
Hello. Am I there? Okay, can we just please have everyone seated? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Chairman of Council, Philip Stiles, and his wife Robin, Principal Simon Shepherd and his wife Susan, President of the School Foundation Tim McCrenna and his wife Michelle, Head of Senior School David Wallage, Friends of Westminster President Carolyn Fegan and husband Paul, Nurrungeri Elder Mark Kumatri, staff and most importantly parents and the class of 2020. I would like to officially welcome you to this year's valedictory dinner. We got there, didn't we? Yes. To say it's been a different year is an understatement. I am proud that we've been able to give the class of 2020 most of what we promised them at the beginning of the year. There was a period where I was genuinely concerned that this wasn't going to happen. And that they weren't, because there's a number of different events that happen throughout a final year of schooling, and I guess you'd refer to them as, rites of passage. And there was a real fear that there was a possibility that none of those or only some of them were going to happen. But it's great that we're able to be here tonight, and it's fantastic that we were able to give our Year 12s the experience that we promised at the beginning of the year. So it's excellent. But first of all, I'd just like to make mention of the families that are finishing their time at Westminster. And if you're one of those families, can you please stand? If you're finishing, if this is your final, I'm going to ask you to stay standing while I say something, so be patient. Okay, you and your children have helped shape the Westminster community, and I'm sure it comes with some mixed feelings tonight. Some of them are going to be really good because the hip pocket's going to be a lot better, but also there's going to be some sadness because, you know, we all know that the parents ride the wave of school, and particularly their final year of schooling, and it is a shared experience with that whole journey, and you also make some really good friends along the way with other families. So we'd just like to formally acknowledge your contribution to the Westminster community. So can we give them a round of applause, please? Thanks. There's a few other people I'd like to thank before we get started. The Friends of Westminster for their gifts and contributions in terms of staff tickets here tonight. Darren McLaughlin does a huge amount of work in terms of videoing and live streaming and helping set up stuff for their last days. The ladies in the senior school office, particularly Bev Lacornu and Kim Rainsford, has done a mountain of work to make this night possible, for all the place cards and awards and everything you've seen today. The heads of house, they are massive contributors to what goes on in the day-to-day life and making sure that our Year 12s get to where they are today. And also I'd like to acknowledge the staff as well, who also shape and create that journey in one way or another. So thank you to you all. I'd also like to thank the class of 2020 for a great year. It's been a challenging year, to say the least, with a number of curveballs and having to adapt and change. And you know, a classic example was a psychology exam. You know, it was a year that just kept on giving, wasn't it? So, but the way our students sort of handled themselves through it all and kept positive and kept moving forward was a real credit to you all. So thank you very much. And I regularly hear from staff about this year group, you know, and you talk about year groups and they're all good, they're all fantastic, but some, you know, staff talk about a little bit more, and this is certainly one of those years. I'd also just like to acknowledge the leaders for all their work and again for their ability to just keep moving forward. And those two, that group of people, the leaders and the students, were led by two of the best that I've seen in Kane and Ruby, who have done an outstanding job in their roles, and certainly, you know, it's big shoes to fill for the incoming leaders, and I've really enjoyed my time with them throughout the year. So thank you very much. I'm very fortunate in my role. I get to do all the good stuff. So, and I really do enjoy what I do, and coming to work each day and sharing experiences with all of you. So thank you very much for enriching my life and making my work life really enjoyable. Tonight's format is on your tables, and so if you look through that, there's a slight tweak to that at the start, which I'll introduce in a second, but generally the running sheet is as is. Just a few housekeeping issues. Obviously, I've reminded you about COVID, so when you're drinking, please sit down, which is a tough thing to do, but if you can do that. As far as photography goes, we do have event photography here, so they are out in the foyer. There's actually a studio set up there, so if you'd like a group photo or a photo with parents or something, you can head out there. We also have some roaming photographers that will be cruising around throughout the night and taking photos. So what they will do is they'll produce a link, event photography, and we'll flick that out next week. And if you want to get on and there's any photos that you would like to buy, then you certainly can. There's lots of speeches tonight, so I'm going to round up, and there's lots of musical items as well, so I'm going to get off stage. But I certainly hope you enjoy your night, and as I said, I'm really, really glad that we've been able to put this night on. Can I please, I'd just like to welcome Mark Kulmatri who's the Nurrungeri Elder, to the stage just to do the Welcome to Country.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. As mentioned, I'm Nurrungeri, so we sit on Kaurna country. So I acknowledge the Kaurna people who are the custodians of this land that we all are on. I acknowledge their elders, past and present, and I acknowledge all their emerging leaders. When we do Westminster, after I do the smoking ceremony with the students in Year 10, I say that the Coorong belongs to them. So at the start, we do a welcome to country, and at the conclusion of it, I say it belongs to them. What I also acknowledge is the hard work that all of you put in, and the hard work that the future of the children that are graduated, or the young people who graduated tonight. So I just acknowledge the Kaurna country, and I acknowledge all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We pause for another moment of acknowledgement, and that is traditionally called grace. Now, I don't expect you to bow your heads and close your eyes. Please take in this grace with your eyes open. But I want to say, the food we share this evening is the gift of the earth. We take it together as the people of the earth. And as we do, may we be mindful of the earth we share. Amen.
Welcome to Prize Giving 2020, a change in events from our traditional speech day to something a bit more contemporary and a bit more fitting for the times we live in. Unfortunately, due to COVID regulations and restrictions, we can't have the whole school community with us. Thank you to all of those who could attend. Well done to all our prize winners, and thank you to everybody who's watching this as we stream it online. I do hope you enjoy the day and the slightly different format that we now apply for our prize giving. At our commencement assembly this year, no one would have anticipated COVID-19's ramifications for us as a school, for us as a state, and for Australia as a nation. It has presented us with a whole series of challenges and some reminders about what's really important in life. For the past 3 years as a school, we've encouraged our students to be kind, to be grateful, and this year to be useful. For many around the world, it wasn't until COVID-19 struck that people actually decided it was worthwhile to be kind to others, that we should be grateful for what we have, and most definitely we should try and make ourselves useful. As we started the year with being useful in mind, we had to change many of the things that we did over the course of the year. As a school, we prepared for the worst of COVID and hoped for the best, and we have much to be grateful for. In some form or another, we managed to hold all the key rites of passages for all students, and particularly for our Year 12s. While we did lose a few rounds of sport, we've still been able to fit in both the summer and winter co-curricular season in most sports. The seasons were slightly abridged. Dance, drama and music all had the opportunity to perform despite being impacted. The audiences were limited, but we did all we can to minimise the impact on student opportunities. There was a bit of performance congestion during the latter weeks of Term 3 and Term 4 as we tried to provide alternative outcomes and give all of our students a chance to perform. While state border restrictions prevented a number of our outdoor education trips, our dedicated staff did all they could to provide alternatives for our students, allowing our students to undertake trips for outdoor education, Duke of Edinburgh, and just for fun. We also managed to squeeze in camps for most year groups, albeit with slightly abridged programs. With our Westminster program running in 2020, we were very fortunate to have fitted the whole program in before restrictions around COVID prevented us from doing so. This key program helps so many of our students realise more about themselves and can provide an epiphany moment for so many. Despite all the challenges of COVID-19, 2020 has seen our students start to use some amazing new facilities. We've been able to make the most of the new Inquiry and Innovation Hub for all of Term 4, and the Thomas Pavilion was recently opened, providing our kids with another great building, facility and array of opportunities. We'll start decanting music at the end of the school term, and demolition of our music spaces will take place over the next month, with the aim of having demolition completed before school starts in 2021. Not resting on our laurels, we're commencing the prep school infrastructure program next year, while we also work on developing our new dining hall, library, music and drama spaces. While adapting and shaping new opportunities for our students, we continue to build and improve our school for a return to the new normal. In 2020, we focused on delivering outstanding teaching. Our professional development has evolved around differentiation, giving students productive feedback, and having less teacher talk in the classrooms. Leading this has been our pedagogy coach, Miss Angela Phillips, who this year has been recognised as a lead teacher. Kate Inglis is also in the process, and we hope she soon will be recognised for her outstanding skills. Our Director of Teaching and Learning, Miss Andrea Sherwood, has been leading by example and miraculously completed 3/4 of her Masters of Educational Leadership in 1 year, despite all of the pressure of COVID-19. Miss Sharon Darrell and Mr Danny Page, 2 prep school deputies, have also been studying at the same frenetic pace. Across the school, our staff have shown a clear dedication to self-improvement in every area of school life. From our teachers, there's been a clear commitment to providing our students with consistent, well-planned, differentiated lessons. Reflecting on the year that's been, it has only been possible to achieve all that we have due to the dedication and commitment of our staff. Be that on leading the building projects, maintaining the grounds, preparing online lessons, or sheer dedication to do all that they can to improve the learning experiences for our students. Our student leaders, both formal and informal, have done a great job. We've been most fortunate to not only have great leaders in 2020, but we've also had great followers, great team members, and a community that was willing to be flexible and contribute wherever they could. Ruby and Kane have been outstanding school captains, and we can all learn from the way that our school leaders and the Year 12s have approached the year. They met adversity with a positive attitude, and instead of looking at what they could miss out on, they started to look for opportunities. Instead of being outraged at the loss of rites of passage and the differences their Year 12 has had to those who have gone before them, they showed flexibility, initiative and gratitude, especially as they made the most of every opportunity that we could have, despite the restrictions. When a community is tested by trying circumstances, its true nature shines through. This year, our community has remained cohesive and supportive, despite every challenge we have faced. The shadows and spectre of COVID-19 will linger with us for many years to come. We cannot let this stop us from moving forward. We cannot let this divide us, and we must continue to show solidarity as we move forward together as a school. The year has highlighted that education is more than curriculum. It's more than ATAR. It's the education of the whole person. And we can only achieve this as a community. In the words of the Khoza tribe of Nelson Mandela, it takes a village to raise a child. We have to continue to work together to educate our children cognitively, emotionally and spiritually, to ensure they are the very best people they can be, and empower them all to achieve more than they thought possible. Thank you to all of the community for your contributions through this most extraordinary year. While it's thrown its challenges at us, we have certainly risen above them, and I look forward to serving you next year.
I don't think I told Simon I was going to show that. Thank you for that. We'll just start a bit of change of order because Kane didn't get an opportunity to speak at the prize giving. He's going to come up and make a speech now. So just can you please welcome our school captain, Kane Baldwin, to the stage.
Now, I don't want to miss anyone, so I'm just going to say welcome to all of our honoured guests, our staff, students and our families. Well, we are here finally. 1 year later, and I must unfortunately bid farewell to Westminster School, the second home that has completely changed my life, full stop. A home that has nurtured me into someone I'm proud to be, with friendships that will traverse through the barriers of time as we each carve our own paths into adulthood and the big, wide, daunting world. A home is where a story begins. A Westminster student is fortunate to utilise high-class facilities and equipment that enables the unbelievably beneficial and enjoyable experience of learning at school. However, my time at Westminster has crucially enabled my understanding of something much more. Yes, I understand that Westminster is a place, obviously, but more meaningfully, Westminster is a place of people. A very big group of people that extends far beyond those who show up to campus on a typical Monday. Years in the future, when asked about Westminster, I will speak of 2 fantastic gyms, spacious ovals, functional classrooms, labs, breakout spaces, a vast auditorium and a pool. The list goes on. But when asked about Westminster, I will speak the most about my friends, my teachers, my mentors, the people that have shaped me and facilitated any success I have and will achieve. This idea briefly summarises my passion and gratitude towards the Westminster community, an idea that I will try to make very clear up here today. I also hope to share with you what I'll be taking with me from Westminster, some values, ideas and habits, all of which will hopefully apply to anyone in the room tonight before I finish with a few final regards. Hang in there. As a Year 12 student, one of the biggest battles we are faced with is the necessity to find a direction and pursue it. What subjects do we choose? Where does this actually lead us? And realistically, this challenge begins introducing itself even earlier on in high school when our electives become available. I personally chopped and changed my path quite a few times this year as I deliberated my pursuit of a football career. Admittedly though, throughout my whole life, ever since I was very young, I thought I wanted to be famous. Now, the version of fame we all immediately assume is the possession of popularity, recognition, the admiration of others, which is probably what I was thinking of as a child as well. However, my perception of this has developed this year, and I would like to begin by sharing this with you. The inspiration to realise this new perception came from watching a documentary about a month ago about a very famous and relevant singer today, Shawn Mendes. Some of you may have seen this documentary. I think this documentary kind of tied the ribbon and gave me quite a bit of clarity on some of the advice I wanted to share today. I do apologise if a Shawn Mendes documentary wasn't what you expected to hear about from me today. However, I couldn't help but appreciate how very moved I was by his apparent ability to remain so intensely present and grateful despite his unimaginably privileged life. How do you get to the place where you can be so intensely and expressively thankful for the beauty of life and every opportunity it brings? I thought that is where I want to be. And so I thought about it, reflected, and eventually decided the word I was after, the thing that I so profoundly wanted, was not to be famous. I wanted to influence. I wanted the platform and ability to project a positive influence upon others. The ability to truly accept and appreciate the best things in life and then help others realise this too. Now, I don't have the platform to directly influence millions of people like Shawn. However, we can each choose to do as much as we can to make all of our interactions great, to say thank you, to influence what we can influence. And so, in terms of influence, what better year to discuss than 2020? What better year to be forced into truly accepting and appreciating the best things in life and helping others try to realise them too? Although we've definitely already heard enough about it, it would unfortunately be remiss of me to overlook one of our time's greatest world challenges, COVID-19. And I'm conscious of my privilege to even be sharing these words with you today, even considering the range of cancellations and postponements that we have recently encountered. This year has been riddled with setback, rejection and difficulty. However, contrasted by a very bright and spirited acknowledgement of what we do have and what we do get. And so, whilst it hasn't been this year's school theme, I believe 2020 has been the year of gratitude. For most students, this year delivered the confronting awakening as to how important and good school really is. As a Year 12 cohort especially, we faced many obstacles in trying to experience what the usual, eventful, jam-packed final year of school was supposed to look like. As I'm sure many parents can account for, there was an overwhelmingly uneasy and worried reaction to the news that schools were to be indefinitely shut down back at the beginning of Term 2. Yes, very unfortunate news, but these moments are what define 2020. This disease fashioned Westminster students and all of its community members alike to become more resilient, appreciative and engaged with our school, their family and every aspect of their life. Matt Fraser, the world's best CrossFit athlete, said, and I quote, "There will always be value in hard times. It is only when things are taken away from us that we can truly recognise their value." This year, as Australians and as a human species, we're exposed to what global adversity can look like, beginning here in Australia with the destructive wildfires. Yet in a similar manner to COVID-19, we here in South Australia and at Westminster have been, for the most part, exceptionally lucky in comparison to other countries and other Australian states, a fact we may all occasionally overlook. So I think that all of that leads quite nicely into 2 pieces of advice that I wish to offer. I'd originally written this with the assumption that I'll be speaking in front of the younger year levels, who would be welcome to use these points in the rest of their schooling, but I think this is being recorded, so they'll be able to listen at some stage anyway. However, I still believe these points remain very applicable to everyone here tonight. Both of these points are very simple and may not totally resonate with you from just listening to me, but right now, as a school leaver, these are what I currently believe will eventually drive success for me. Number 1, value people. It was Marcus Aurelius, the Roman philosopher, in his journal entitled Meditations, where he said, "I learned to dispense with attendance at public schools and to enjoy good teachers at home, and to recognise that on such things money should be eagerly spent." Now that may not sound overly relevant to you, but personally I interpret it a little bit like this. Yes, our learnings at school in terms of curriculum content is important. The subjects you choose to undertake will begin to mark out your path to a career, to financial stability, and hopefully to fulfilment. However, the teachings at home, as Aurelius calls them, are the interactions and associations you have with people. Westminster School has taught me how to communicate effectively for an array of purposes, become a productive, independent and organised individual, and challenged me to develop my empathy and emotional intelligence. Empathy is something we must constantly challenge ourselves to use. Listening, understanding and looking beyond our own challenges or current issues to really feel for someone can be very difficult to do, yet it offers so much knowledge in return. Over the past year, I have grasped a wealth of knowledge from the likes of Mr. Shepherd, Wallage and Ritson, 3 people who have a very advanced level of empathy. With such strong-minded role models and leaders like these 3, it is clear to see how Westminster has developed such a strong culture, as this ability to be emotionally intelligent, useful and understanding of others is evident in so many of Westminster's staff. As graduating Westminster students, we're the product of hard-working and dedicated teachers who strive solely to see us succeed, doing whatever it may take to do so, regardless of how that may impact their time spent with their own family, their social life or even their sleep. And so I say again, to have had such positive role models like our school staff all around us, we have been so extremely privileged. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, said, and I quote, "The key thing to building good habits is to surround yourself with a group where the desired behaviour is the normal behaviour. That can be the influence of people, and that has been the influence of Westminster School." And so I ask each of you listening to constantly and consciously make an effort to invest in people, get to know them, share with them, embrace them. Constantly battle with yourself, to give people a go, to listen with intent, to put yourself in their shoes, to learn from someone else. I think we can always continue to work on these areas, myself included. As students, we've been privileged to be backed by a tremendously invested, down-to-earth, intelligent and dependable group of staff and council members. To the class of 2020, I hope we can all realise the importance of strong connections as we move off into careers or wherever life may lead. To the younger students who may be listening, I simply encourage you to make the best use of our school staff. In a similar fashion to Hogwarts, help will always be given to those at Westminster who ask for it. And number 2, gratitude. Luckily, I will not spend too much time trying to explain this to you all because you must already know what this is. Marcus Aurelius also said, "When you are stressed by an external thing, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but only your judgment of it," suggesting that we each have total control over how positive or negative we perceive something to be. However, further to this, something I'm working on is my expression of gratitude. If you are thankful for someone, tell them. For me, and I imagine for all of the leaving students here today, this idea of gratitude is ever present as we have left the comfort and routine of school for good. So once again, to those people who still have a few years of school left, I will say this. From now on, when you walk past a mate of yours and you shake hands, wink, smile or laugh, never take that for granted. Appreciate it, acknowledge it, hold it, because I wholeheartedly wish I could have that opportunity and feel that atmosphere again. Challenge yourself to weigh up your entire situation rather than dwelling on a small problem. Don't let yourself complain about 2 simple flights of stairs given you have access to the unbelievable innovation hub they lead to. Try your best to get off your phone, turn off your notifications, look up. Be present and consciously acknowledge each thing you do have. To the class of 2020, I wish you each the very, very best. I wish you each the very, very best. The best luck, the best outcomes, best relationships and best experiences. I wish that you remember the small town thoughts of our second home, this very promising beginning and the remarkable head start we have been privileged to receive as Westminster students. I've combined 2 terribly sad song lyrics for this next statement. No, we will never be kids again, but we will never be as young as we are now. So don't waste precious time in life. Do you. Pursue what you want. Find something that makes you fulfilled. Find people that make you happy. If you remember one thing from this speech today, make it this next bit. First of all, make the effort to stay in touch with your friends, but also, whether you find yourself interstate, overseas, or just around the corner, please find a way to come to our class reunions. Even now, I can only imagine the value of reconnecting, reminiscing, and learning from each other's experiences. To all of you, I can only thank you for what has been an incredible year. Next, to Ruby Liptak. Where to begin? In this partnership, Ruby was very much the creative brains of the operation, who did most of the talking and admittedly ran the Better Leaders meetings. There are very few people going around with such a strong combination of talent and determination. Ruby is brilliant, smart, and most definitely going places exclusively because she works harder than others. Now, Ruby and I made vows to each other, as did each pair of school leaders this year. These were shared at Leaders Camp at the beginning of the year, and Ruby had always asked me if we could recite our vows at an assembly speech day or something like that, but I'd always said no. So I'm unfortunately going to make her a little bit upset by sharing a few snippets from my vows to her, but I see no better way to encapsulate Ruby for you all. And I quote, "Ruby, you have convinced me that you're not only the most brutally honest, stubborn, and frustrating person I've ever met, but also the most compassionate, trustworthy, thoughtful, driven, and no doubt the most entertaining. My final request is that every once in a while, you think of yourself before others. Never let your teeming level of unselfishness and unquestionable desire to help others get in the way of your own happiness. And in saying this, I vow to try my best to never let you down by allowing you to overstress yourself with the problems of others. Know that I unconditionally have your back in everything, support you, trust you, and I'm always grateful for you. All I will say, Ruby has been and will always be one of my best friends. Thank you, Rubes." As Ruby and I finally hand our roles over, I have a sharp sense of faith in Aidan and Kim as they begin their tenure, and I wish them the best of luck. It has been my life's greatest privilege to be Westminster School Captain this year. This role is something I will always remember and reflect upon, along with the many people who have made this journey so special and influential. Whilst I've spoken strongly tonight of gratitude and appreciation, it is difficult to put into words how indebted and thankful I feel towards this school's students, the senior leadership group, the staff, and the community as a whole. This opportunity has been unmistakably life-changing, and there is absolutely no way I would change my time at Westminster. Thank you, everyone, for patiently listening. Up the guns.
I don't know about you lot, but that speech makes me feel quite inadequate in terms of my ability to stand up here. So well done, Kane. Some very wise words from a young man. I'm just going to welcome, they're probably not quite ready, but the Riley, Nixon Burns, Josh Gomez, Lewis Hoffman, Hamish Cordell and Alan Chen to give us something which they've done a few times this year, but I thought it was worth tonight. So welcome the quintet to the stage, please, for a bit of a performance.
All right. It's been a little while since we've done this. I'm here.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
I kind of forgot we were doing this until I got here. I'm sure you guys remembered, but I didn't, so...
I mean, you didn't forget we had a rehearsal, but that should work out.
I did come to that rehearsal, but that was the other thing. Anyway, let's sing.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't warmed up either, so this could be really interesting.
Well, you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have swing.
Wait, sorry.
Lead us in, Joshy.
5 years ago we started with dreamed of going far, but we never did imagine that we'd be where we are. To sing on shows around the world is such a dream come true. And if these 5 losers can do all that, so can you. So can you.
We are the Awesome Foursome plus Josh. I hope you enjoy.
Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb with a finger and a thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't start coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. It didn't make sense not to live for fun. Your brain gets smart but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You never know if you don't go. No, you'll never shine if you don't glow. So hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. The stage is a cool place and never gets old. Camps and shows and going for gold, and our personalities differ like when Riley does this.
Hey everyone, just a friendly reminder, 6 days till we get the culmination of 13 years of our schooling, the most important number you'll ever hear!
Probably like 11 or something, but...
Yeah, I might have to go into SACE to get mine.
And oh, we're weird and maybe look dumb, but we're ourselves, we have lots of fun. So that's our thing. How about you? All you gotta do is be yourself too. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold.
Take a Lewis.
Well, if he's an all-star, then you're an all-star, and you're an all-star, and not quite everyone on this stage today is a rock star in their own way. All that glitters is gold, only shooting stars. Somebody once told me it's only barbershop, and this thing we do is really strange. I said, yeah, what a concept, but I love singing with my friends, and with harmony the world can change. Hey now, you're an all-star, so get your game on and play. Hey now, you're a rock star, gotta get the show on and get paid. All that glitters is gold, is gold. You can shine if you're young or you're old, and all that glitters is gold, glittering gold.
Not bad, not bad. Almost, Joshy.
Only shooting stars break the mold. Nobody can tell you you'll never find your dreams. Hey now, that old star is you. Hey now, it's you.
We didn't do your joke.
We didn't. We skipped it.
Love it. Thank you, boys. We're just going to welcome Kane back to the stage just to do a toast. And then it's been a bit full at the start of this night because we're fitting a few more things in. So Kane's just going to do a toast to the parents. And then you can relax for a while.
I'm back. You've all heard me speaking for long enough already tonight, so I'd like to keep this short, but our toast to our lovely parents does most certainly not deserve to be too short. To the parents, guardians, carers, and loved ones of the class of 2020, how can we ever thank you? It goes without saying that your influence has affected your children in ways far beyond the payment of the thrilling annual school fee. You are the reliable ones, the people we care for the most, but sometimes maybe the ones whom we dump our stresses and tiredness upon after a long day. You are an imperative factor in any successful Year 12. As my mum mentioned to me earlier this year, parents are also going through Year 12. Emotionally, mentally, socially, you rode beside us on the roller coaster ride that was Year 12, and as equally uniquely, the ride that has been 2020. You kept pushing us, cheering us on as we accomplished our best, got through that long day without a free lesson, or completed each exam, rejoicing and sharing in this achievement. But more importantly, you remained seated next to us as restrictions were placed, a test was bombed, and stress became overwhelming. You unquestionably support us when things go south. As you heard me say earlier in the night, it is only when things are taken away from us that we can truly recognise their value. This being ever so true as myself and many others extend our independence and potentially move away from home completely. To my mum and dad, thank you so, so much. I have no idea what I'd be doing without you. And so may we all please stand and raise a glass. Parents, your value is so profoundly understated. As students, whether we realise it or not, and whether we express it or not, we are extremely grateful for your love, support, and contribution to what has been a very interesting year, but a very, very lucky upbringing. And so can you please join me in my cheers to the parents of Westminster Schools class of 2020. Cheers.
Been really blessed this year to have so many choices in terms of musical ability, and the last day Year 12 is a great show of all those abilities. But we're going to invite a few people up to the stage now just to sing us a song. So we've got Zoe Smith, Bianca Facundo, Mae Johnson, Emily Nolis, and Gemma Dandy. So if we can welcome them all to the stage, that'd be great. Thanks.
Sitting in a railway station, got a ticket for my destination. On a tour of one-night stands, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band. Stringing us along. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home. Every day's an endless stream of cigarettes and magazines. And each town looks the same to me, the movies and the factories, and every stranger's face I see reminds me that I long to be. Trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. No, you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home. down, it'll all be clear. The trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. No, you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home. Thoughts escape me. I'm gonna make this place.
Okay, before I introduce the next speaker, just a bit of background on and why he'll be coming here, and I guess the process he's been through to get here. So each year the students, the leadership group, choose a staff member to toast the class of that year. And to, I guess, be chosen or asked is a real reflection on what the student body and think of you, and the impact that you've had on the students over their time at Westminster. So it's a real honour to be asked. And this year the students asked Matthew Stone to speak and toast the leavers of 2020. Obviously Matthew's already done a little bit on the Zoom call we did, but he was very happy and really wanted to talk in front of you all. So can you please welcome Matthew Stone to the stage.
Could we play the video, please?
Do you want us? We can walk off. What would you prefer?
It might be easier. This is a final farewell. Cut that. This is a final farewell for our leavers, and is a bit of a recount of my time with them. Cut that. Time with them, and a personal reflection on what they have done for me this year. Cut that, Darren. Take 522.
Sometimes you gotta lose somebody.
Cut that. Start again.
It's a mess, but hey, don't even worry about it.
Okay, first of all, in the event of flooding, the exits are that way. This is for our leavers and is a bit of a recount of my time with them and a personal reflection on what they have done for me this year. Don't underestimate the positive impact you have on others. It's hard to believe 4 years have passed since I began with my amazing Forder tutor group, who are sitting over that way somewhere, can't quite see where you are. Then as Year 9s in 2017. And beyond my tutor group, I didn't get to know too many more of this cohort until 2018, the year in which I attempted to teach an interesting mix of young Year 10 boys and girls. Don't get me wrong, they were a nice bunch of kids, it's just that some talked a lot more than they worked. It was in 2019, having taught 4 Year 11 classes across the year, that this cohort really started to grow on me. And in 2020, I've been fortunate enough to have taught 3 Year 12 classes. And while I'm hopeful that won't happen again anytime soon, I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to do so with this cohort. Now, despite my youthful good looks, the timing of some big events in my life have a striking similarity to some big events in yours. I started teaching around the year you were born, some 18 years ago. And when you stepped into the big world of the reception classroom, I started teaching at Westminster. And now, as you leave Westminster, apart from a change of colour, And now, as you leave Westminster, apart from a change of colour, I won't be. Assuming I don't say anything up here that gives Mr. Shepherd just cause to show me the door. Callum Andrews, where are you? We really should have done some shots before getting up here. Simon, if you buy the first round, I'll buy the next. And that's Cal's dad, by the way, not Mr. Shepherd, although Mr. Shepherd, I'll happily accept a round from you too, because Mrs. Phillips is driving me home tonight. Okay, time to get serious. And Cal, if you need to take a few sneaky sips from your parents' drinks, now's a good time to do so. In the early months of 2020, COVID-19 transformed the world all of us were accustomed to. Life as we knew it began to change, more quickly for some than others. As we watched the world deal with the early beginnings of a global pandemic, life in Australia continued, perhaps somewhat complacently. Then suddenly things did change. Shops shut their doors, large social gatherings were banned. We were encouraged not to see our elderly parents and grandparents. Streets became deserted. Playing fields and playgrounds were emptied. Flights were cancelled. State borders were closed and cities were put into lockdown. Life was no longer what we knew it to be. Life had changed. In Term 1, teachers adapted their programs to deliver a hybrid learning model, providing outstanding learning opportunities for all students, whether they be with them in the classroom or isolating at home. As teachers prepared for the possibility of a long-term school closure, as the number of students in the classroom dwindled, and as the personal classroom interaction with students diminished, one thing became evidently clearer to me. I'm a teacher not because of some passion to instil my knowledge on young people. I'm a teacher because of a passion to change the lives of young people. I'm a teacher because of the relationships I can build with young people on their learning journey. I'm a teacher because of the positive impact I can have on young people beyond the classroom and beyond the content I am required to teach them. When life as I knew it changed so dramatically in Term 1, I began to question the impact I could have on the lives of young people through online learning. The prospect of teaching students through a digital means was daunting, unfamiliar, and solitary. And at the time I thought that if this is what my professional life is going to be like, then for right now, maybe it's not the profession for me. After over 17 years as an educator, maybe it was time to step away and take a long and well-earned break while the world around me spun into educational chaos. For me as a teacher, one of the biggest initial struggles during the pandemic was dealing with the possibility of not being in a classroom full of students. Online learning and interacting with students via Teams compared somewhat poorly to the learning journey teachers experience with students in a physical classroom. As Term 1 dragged on and neared its end, and as more students began to learn from home, I distinctly remember the moment I met with a student who had been struggling somewhat with disconnection from school life while they were in isolation. One-to-one, face-to-face, personal interaction, no screens, no Teams, no broadband or mobile network required, just adherence to the current social distancing requirements. And from this student, the beaming smile, the genuine greeting, and the unmistakable appreciation. I feel there was more to this meeting than a student just getting help with some work. In the midst of a pandemic for me, and maybe for them as well, That meeting highlighted the importance of the enduring relationship between a student and teacher, the importance of the familiar connection a student and teacher has with schooling, and the sense of normality a schooling environment offers in a world we were somewhat unaccustomed to. This one moment redefined my fragmented thinking at the time and reminded me not only of the positive impact I can have on an individual, but more importantly, the positive impact an individual can have on me. To the class of 2020, if you take anything away from what has otherwise been a troubling year, take this. You are now more courageous. You are now more curious. You are now more inclusive. You are now more kind. You are now more mindful. And you are now more resilient. All of you have overcome challenges throughout the year, and your life beyond school will be all the better for it. So what helped me survive the COVID-19 school year? The beaming smile, the genuine greeting, and the unmistakable appreciation. Fortunately for me, one individual afforded me this moment when I needed it the most, and continued to do so each day since, as did many more of you, allowing me to appreciate that I was part of something bigger. It is these moments that make being a teacher worth it. It is these moments that remind me of the positive impact I can have on an individual. It is these moments that show how much impact each of you have on others too, perhaps without realising it. I've taught countless students over my 18-year teaching career, too many names and faces to remember. But I can still remember individual students that have helped shape the teacher, even the person that I am today, all the way back to my first year of teaching. Needless to say, I'll be remembering quite a lot of you, for the best of reasons, of course. At the start of this term, I was honoured by the school leaders to speak at tonight's valedictory dinner. And since then, while reflecting upon this year in particular, and my time with you, I have experienced an unfamiliar amount of emotion relating to your inevitable departure. Whether it's something brought on by the heightened emotions of this COVID year or just who each of you are, I'm leaning towards the latter. I'm now saying farewell to a great group of young people, many of which I would happily consider a friend. I can honestly say I've never had a stronger connection with a cohort of students than those before me. And for much of the year, I've worked alongside you not only as your teacher, but also as your peer. As a result of a virus that ravaged the world over, 2020 will forever be a defining year in the history of mankind, one for the books. For me, 2020 will forever be remembered as a year I was able to spend so much time with so many of you, for which I'm truly grateful. On behalf of the teachers, in fact, all the Westminster staff, thank you for the beaming smiles. Thank you for the hellos and goodbyes. Thank you for the genuine conversations. Thank you for the casual banter. Thank you for challenging us, and thank you for frustrating us. Thank you for having the courage to correct our mistakes. Thank you for entertaining us on the stage. Thank you for enthralling us on the courts, fields, pitches, and ovals. Thank you for taking the time to get to know us and allowing us to get to know you. Thank you for the abundance of gratitude, and thank you for taking the time to care. No matter how small some of these acts may seem, the positive impact they have had on us is immense. So thank you, all of you, for making our year, and in particular my year, the best. We are looking forward to seeing what each of you can accomplish in the years ahead. Before we toast to our leavers, I'd like to share part of something I prepared and presented last term to my Forder tutor at their house dinner, with a few modifications that equally applies to all of you. I hope they don't mind. The class of 2020 have been through a lot together as the years pass by. Great friendships have formed, and now they'll say goodbye. To their home away from home, yes, Westminster School, we all hope you've had a blast at this wonderful duel. On behalf of the school, I thank you all for giving your best, for being kind, grateful, and useful, and for all the time that you did invest. Go forward and prosper in whatever you choose to do, and know that we'll be here if you ever need someone to talk to. Can I ask everyone that's not a Year 12 leader to stand and raise their glass, please? And can we raise our glasses as a toast to the class of 2020? Don't underestimate the positive impact you have on others. The positive impact you have had on me is immense. It has been an honour to be part of your Westminster life. All the best with whatever lies ahead. Thank you.
Righto, we're going to get the young man who was on the left of that photo, Callum, up here to respond to Mr. Stone. So, thank you, Callum.
All right. Good evening, parents, staff, special guests, and of course, my fellow class of 2020. Before I begin, I would like to extend to Mr. Stone the gratitude of the entire class of 2020 for his words, and more importantly, the impact he's had on many of us throughout this last year. While I have no knowledge of how past students that have stood here as I am now usually approach their response, I hope to take a slightly different course as I do my best to show my appreciation for a man who undoubtedly deserves all of it and more. So I'd like to begin with a letter addressed to Mr. Stone and written in the hope of returning just a small portion of the positive impact he has had on me and every one of the people who meet him. Dear Mr. Stone, Hugh Stoney, this year for everyone will forever go down as one of the most challenging and unpredictable that any of us will ever experience. However, before we knew what we were in for, each one of the class of 2020 knew not only that year 12 would be difficult, but also that with the right people, it would be one filled with some of the happiest times of our lives. Now, maybe I was the only one who felt this way, but halfway through year 11, I definitely wasn't choosing to take on 2 subjects of maths because I thought I'd end up making memories that will stay with me forever. At that point, all I knew was that I was going to need you in order to get through a year of spesh. To say I was happy to find that my request to have you as my spesh teacher had been fulfilled is a statement only overshadowed by the elation I felt discovering that I'd have you for both methods and spesh. And so the year began with the undeniable feeling that it was going to be one of the best. With each of your lessons that I went to, I left feeling better about what was to come and how I was going to tackle the challenges that everyone who completes year 12 faces. It quickly became apparent that you are in fact the maths god that every single year level proclaims you to be, and also that by some small miracle, you were able to make each lesson enjoyable and somewhere everyone looked forward to going each day. Between the banter, your genuine interest in the lives of every student in your class, and a ridiculous amount of patience, the bonds you formed with each of my classes were what truly left people excited to see you and disappointed on the rare occasions you weren't with us. Before the first term was over, you were already trading mistakes with Gomez while the rest of the class eagerly awaited to catch one of you out, and for some reason had begun to buy into conversations between the boys concerning matters that couldn't have been further from maths. While these interactions already went beyond what any of us expected of you, it was when COVID became truly prevalent that you left the greatest impression on me in a way that I will forever be grateful for. As more students began to be kept home, myself included, the change to online learning was one that some teachers were able to adapt to better than others. As you know, losing the physical presence of the classroom, but more importantly, the people in it, was something that, I'm sure like many others, I did not cope with well at all. Sorry. I became disengaged and lost the motivation that I had felt during the initial part of the year. While each of the steps you took to engage with the people at home made a huge difference, there was one particular time that to me displays the care, compassion, and desire to put others before you that I have no doubt is the reason why so many of us desperately wanted you up here talking to us tonight. Out of hours, when you could have been heading home, you happily agreed to meet me to go over topics I was having difficulty understanding. It was not the help that you gave me that stood out, though I did appreciate it, but your genuine interest in how I was coping at home and what you could do to make the experience slightly easier for me. This was the first time I'd interacted with anyone outside those I was living with, and knowing that I'd be coming back to 12 lessons a week with someone who truly cared became my main motivation throughout the rest of the year. Your impact is felt by each year level that passes through, and the school would not be the same without you. While every single teacher here deserves the praise of the students present tonight, you'll always be the one I remember most fondly from my 13 years of schooling. You've become something more than just a teacher to me, and someone I happily call a friend. I would like to thank you for everything you've done for me, both academically and personally, and once again extend the gratitude of the entire class of 2020 for your words here tonight. I look forward to many more times to come. Warmest regards, Callum. Thank you.
Right, thank you. We're just going to move on to the next part of the night with some presentations of a couple of awards. It's normally a secret who wins this award on this night, but we presented them a bit earlier when we did our online Zoom thing with Mr. Shepherd and some of the staff. Then we're going to move on to a bit of an AV presentation, and then we'll get Ruby, our school vice captain, up here to do a toast to the school. So, first of all, if we can please welcome Mr. Rob McLean to the stage.
Good evening, special guests, staff, parents, family members, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2020. It is my honour to introduce to you the Spirit of Westminster Award. I'm fortunate tonight to share the stage with my good friend Mark Kulmatri, who you've heard from already this evening, Nurrunjeri Elder, and he'll be presenting this Spirit of Westminster totem. He has helped improve Westminster program in recent years by strengthening our connection with practices of original owners on the land and the waters that Westminster takes place. Mark introduced this talking shell totem to our Year 10s during the smoking ceremony back at Westminster in 2018, and he explained that he wished for this totem to remain at the school until it is presented to an appropriate student from this graduating year group. This recipient, the Spirit of Westminster, will receive this in recognition of as a parting gift to enable their special character to be formally acknowledged by their peers. The Spirit of Westminster is awarded to the Year 12 student that best demonstrates the school values to their peers throughout the Year 12. These values include usefulness, kindness, gratitude, and making the most of every opportunity. The significance and value of this award should be held in high regard, as the whole nomination and selection process has been conducted solely by this year group. To be recognised by your peers as the Spirit of Westminster throughout such a challenging year is a tremendous accolade. These recognised values are formidable personal attributes that will continue to serve the recipient well throughout their life journey. I will now invite Mark to share a few words on the significance of this totem, then he will announce or re-announce the 2020 Spirit of Westminster recipient. Thanks, Mark.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. Westminster is very special in my heart, and I'm growing into the school, and I'm not an old scholar or anything, but I feel welcome It's really an honour for me to be a part of this night. Back in 2018, there was something happening, and NITV came to film one of the camps that was happening, and that was shown last year in December on NITV and SBS. From that, working along with the school, we talk about the environment and caring for it and bringing across our point of view and sharing it with the world about what's important in the world and how we can care for country and how we can walk together in unity. The shell was done by my daughter, who's got footprints on here of us all walking together as one in unity. Out of what I've been doing, the work, especially around with Westminster, a couple of weeks ago, the Premier contacted me and he made me the chair of State Aboriginal Heritage. It's quite an honour. And it all started from the work that people like Rob, who invited me down to Westminster. So I really want to thank the school for that, because you've been a big part of my life. I'll get on to awarding this award. Now, some of you already know who it is, but 2020 has been a huge challenge to everybody, and it doesn't mean that 21 is going to be better or our lives will be better, but it doesn't mean it's going to be worse either. I just want to acknowledge that the winner of this is Harvey Bock.
I'm just going to invite Peter Trenorden to the stage to present the Old Scholars Award. And I guess before he does, I'll give a bit of background to this award, a bit like Rob has with the Spirit of Westminster. The Old Scholars Award, out of all the awards that we've seen tonight, again is a really special one because it's voted on by the year group. So the other awards, obviously people are chosen for their efforts and abilities and contributions in areas, but it's by staff, whereas this one here, a list of students is generated and it's put to the whole of the cohort, and then they vote. So it's a peer-elected award, the Old Scholars Award, and it's based around outstanding service to the school, not necessarily in Year 12, but Year 12 is a big part of that. So it's a really significant award, and the person who a lot of you will know who's won it, it's a real honour that that person has achieved that. So I'll hand over to Peter so he can present the award to the recipient.
Thank you, Tony. Well, as we know, the award has been given, and it was done through an impromptu Zoom, something which I'd never thought I'd do, but it was still a fantastic occasion to be able to do that. Just to pick up something about the Old Scholars and what Kane said earlier, and that is that you are friends for life. That you won't necessarily see everyone in this room again like this, but there are people that you will continue to run into that you will have known through school. And I've had the privilege for the last nearly 18 years now to host the Old Scholar reunions. I've done about 120, 30 of them, I think, across various year groups that go from the 60s right through to current day. And the one thing that is so absolutely clear is that you have friends for life in this room. So make the most of it. Enjoy your reunions when you come back. Of course, you've got the sporting clubs, you've got the football club who I know have been recruiting very strongly. And down at Glandul, you'll see one of the greatest gatherings of Westminster community, old scholars and parents and friends at any given match when we're back in season properly. At the soccer club, who run through the Courtney, they have the same feeling. It's just an amazing group of people that come together that really understand what it's like to be part of the Westminster community. So we've got some netballers, we've got dance out there as well, doing some wonderful things. So just make the most of the old scholars world that you have. You'll find old scholars everywhere, and it doesn't take much to uncover that you've been at Westminster and they have been too. It's just one of those Adelaide things. And it doesn't even have to happen in Adelaide. It often happens elsewhere as well. So without, I don't think, spoiling any surprises, I was absolutely thrilled to announce that this year's winner of the Old Scholars Award, which is for outstanding service to the year group and to the school, is May Johnson. And I think May is somewhere coming up there. Oh no, that's a table being served, I think, sorry. But I know that when we did the Zoom, on my screen, I couldn't actually see May, but someone said, May, are you out there? And I just heard this voice go, yes, I'm here. So somewhere buried in the screens, May was there. So May, congratulations from the Old Scholars. Thank you very much. Oh, and May. Thank you. Until next year.
Thank you, Peter, and well done, May, and well done, Harvey. Just as a side note, you talk about service and contributing. Okay, we talk in terms of Westminster. May ran a fundraiser earlier this year before COVID set in for cystic fibrosis and organised an event like this with hundreds of people and raised $28,000 for that foundation. So that's an example of the type of stuff she's doing. We're going to give you a little presentation up on the screens. Now, we had 1 second video, but I chose not to do that because we've seen that. And we put together a baby photos slideshow, and it's a bit more nostalgic for the parents because they get to see what they looked like back then and where they've got to now as graduators and 17, 18-year-old young men and women. It goes very quickly because I thought we were going to be a bit short for time because of some extra stuff. So it's only up there for a second, each one. So don't look away. You might miss it. All right, so we'll put that up.
We've all been waiting for this, but it always comes too quick. Spend our days in the playground, pretending not to be kids. The girls are in the corner, already had too much to drink. Boys hide behind their laughter, like they don't care what girls think. We'll never be as young as we are now. The faces in the crowd are thinning out. And I'm not saying stick around, but stick around. And we may never have another like today. Tomorrow is a brand new start away. And we'll never be as young as we are now, as we are now. We've all been getting tired of the streets that we've outgrown. We sit indoors for hours. Now King George has lost his throne. But something out there's calling, a whisper we call home. The nights that I stayed with you, 'cause you didn't want to be alone. We'll never be as young as we are now. The faces in the crowd are thinning out. And And I'm not saying stick around, but stick around. And we may never have another like today. Tomorrow is a brand new start away. And we'll never be as young as we are now, as we are now. We'll never be as young as we are now. The faces in the crowd are thinning out. And I'm not saying stick around, but stick around. And we may never have another like today. Tomorrow is a brand new start away. And we'll never be as young as we are now, as we are now. We've all been waiting for this, but it always comes too quick. Spend our days in the playground, pretending not to be kids. The girls are in the corner, already had too much to drink. Boys hide behind their laughter, like they don't care what girls think. We'll never be as young as we are now. The faces in the crowd are thinning out. And I'm not saying stick around, but stick around. And we may never have another like today. Tomorrow is a brand new start away. And we'll never be as young as we are now, as we are now. We've all been getting tired of the streets that we've outgrown. We sit indoors for hours. Now King George has lost his throne. Something out there's calling, a whisper we call home. The nights that I stayed with you, 'cause you didn't want to be alone. We'll never be as young as we are now. The faces in the crowd are thinning out. And I'm not saying stick around, but stick around. And we may never have another like today. Tomorrow is a brand new start away. And we'll never be as young as we are now, as we are now.
The parents always love that one, so it's good. I'm just going to invite our school vice-captain to the stage, Ruby, if she is there somewhere, to come and give her toast to the school. So please welcome Ruby to the stage.
Hello everyone. To parents and guest presents who may not know me, as Ritzo just said, my name is Ruby Liptak, and I am honoured to be standing in front of you all today. My role this evening is to give a toast to Westminster School and to the class of 2020. And while I will try my absolute hardest to do just that, no amount of words or speech made will ever truly give justice to just how amazing this community is. The journey of schooling at Westminster started differently for every student in this room. Some transitioned in Year 6, Year 8, Year 10, and some have been here since the very beginning. For me, I had the privilege of attending St. Peter's Woodlands up until Year 7, and in my 12-year-old brain, I was sure SPW was the definition of perfect, and not a single school could top it. I actually wrote something very similar to this in a letter in my first year to Mrs. Abercrombie, who was my Year 8 English teacher at the time. With that self-righteousness, she was probably really excited to have me as a member in Dunstan, which she is now head of. Although I was certain I had hit the jackpot and my schooling experience had peaked at Year 7 graduation, I soon found myself to stand completely corrected. Without hesitation, I can say that Westminster is the best thing that has ever happened to me. I recognise how lucky I am to genuinely love all aspects of school, but I also understand that there are many young kids who simply do not. Undoubtedly, some of those students are amongst the crowd today. However, I cannot think of a better place than Westminster for a non-school loving student to go to school. Westminster does not prioritise test scores over wisdom. Westminster does not enforce, but encourages. Westminster does not just accept students, they enthuse students. I could fangirl for hours about just how amazing Westminster is, but instead I'd like to tell the story of a school who can develop kids, including 12-year-olds who think they know it all, into useful, kind, and engaged young adults. The teaching staff at Westminster School use their time, effort, and passion to inspire students to dream of futures that are as endlessly bright as the stars are in the sky. They have empowered me to achieve things I only ever dreamed of, and I watched every day as they did the same for others. To the staff, please never underestimate the impact you have on us as students. The cohort of 2020 is made up of 151 kids who radiate resilience and individuality. Graduating Year 12 in a normal year is hectic. The pressure of maintaining grades, a healthy sleep schedule, extracurricular activities, attending 18ths, formals, after parties, and every other milestone in between is hectic. But 2020 just decided to surprise us and make things a little bit more hectic with a global pandemic. My fellow peers embraced this kind of massive obstacle by continuing to show up, to stand up for what they believed in, to use the tools and knowledge they have to earn what they achieved, to be the most honest and vulnerable versions of themselves, and to smile. My peers, as we leave today, please know that you are life changers and you have all changed my life. Mr. Ritson has always said, when we step out of the school gates for the final time, although we may not think it or feel it, we are ready to leave. And the school has done and given us all that they can. While Ritso, I agree with you. As sad as it was probably time for us to go. But I am now beginning to understand that the impact Westminster has does not stop on that last day. You teachers have done all you can for us through the open door policy, emotional support, providing revision content for exams, the endless advice for university, and so much more. This school, however, has given us all the knowledge that replicating an environment with as much positivity and support as Westminster is simple and within all of our capabilities. One must allow themselves to be inspired by the people around them and then go out and inspire others. In my eyes, this cycle of aspiring to be inspired is what continues to create change and is a lesson I've only ever been taught through Westminster. So in a sense, all that Westminster gave to us is a gift that never really stops giving. Although my speech is giving a toast to the school, there is one student of whom I would like to give an individual toast to, my partner in crime, Kane Baldwin. Kane, you are one incredible young man, and I do not think anyone can argue with that statement. There is no one else whose dedication I could speak higher of. The dedication you have to your captaincy, to this school, to your sporting ambitions, and to be the best role model for every student and teacher is mesmerising. Your laid-back and light-hearted approach to everything life throws you often disguises the hard work and countless hours you put into every single task. I'm more than proud to have had this year working in partnership and leading with you by my side. It's funny, actually, how similar Kane and I are, and as a testimony to that, without any communication at all, Kane and I included an almost identical paragraph in both of our speeches. So I apologise for the repetitiveness. In January, at our annual leaders retreat, Kane and I decided to run an activity where each captaincy pair came up with vows for one another. A short snippet of my vows for Kane read like this. Kane, I vow throughout this year to do everything within my power to advocate and encourage your aspirations, no matter how big or small. I vow from this day forth until graduation do us part to trust and respect you, laugh and grow with you through the good times and the bad, regardless of the obstacles that we may face together. I will help you when you need help and turn to you when I need help. Most of all, I promise my honest and loyal friendship for this year and forever. And now, as graduation is doing us apart, and my beautiful friend may soon depart on his AFL journey, I would like you all to join me in thanking Kane for all of his efforts as the school captain of 2020. You've gone through a lot this year, Kane, and there is no one who deserves this more than you. If one moment could sum up the beauty of this school, it would be the Year 12 boys 50-metre freestyle race at Swimming Carnival this year. The moment went a bit like this. It had been a frantic day. House and vice captains were running around trying to find the one brave student to partake in the 50-metre butterfly race, or lend their goggles to the helpless soul who had forgotten their own. But in the midst of this madness, there was stillness. Siddharth Silvakumaran was in the pool and swimming for the final time. Always welcoming with high fives and the biggest of smiles, Sid has become a very, very special member of our cohort. As Sid completed his final lap of this race, every student and staff member within the swimming centre stood around the pool, clapping him in. The moment Sid's hand touched the wall, a synchronised cheer was let out as everyone celebrated this small yet significant moment of Sid finishing his race. It is moments like these that make me proud to be a part of the school community. Westminster has made me see the pointlessness in sitting around and complaining about the things that could change, because they have made me see that we are the change. With tonight being our final schooling milestone and time wearing the green and white uniform, I can reflect and say that my time at school was not only educating, but it was fun. And it was unapologetically fun, because having fun did not mean getting in trouble or breaking the rules most of the time. It simply just meant showing up. If you zoned out throughout my speech, fair enough. It has been a long evening. But I would love you all to listen closely to this final part. I'll leave you with a mantra that I had pinned to the wall in my study throughout this entire year. Every day, when your feet hit the floor, be the best person you can be. Show kindness. Take care of yourself. Work hard and be grateful. Allow for your passion to shine through and do not be afraid to show it. Be your best self, live with your dreams, and lead with your heart. I ask now for everyone to raise a glass and stand for the final time as I make a toast. Thank you, Westminster. This is a toast to the place where students flourish. No other place would I have wanted to spend my last 5 years. Agony until the day I die. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, Ruby. Again, credit to you, and what a quality speech again. We'll get a bit of a break, and then sort of a bit closer to about 20 past 10, we'll get our principal up here and another student just to finish the night. So enjoy a break, and we'll see you back soon. Thank you. Hello again, everyone. We'll just get you seated, and we'll do the last couple of things for the night. That way people can either hang around or take off if they need to. So if you can grab your seats, that would be great. Thank you. And just so you don't hear from me again, because I'm sure you're sick of it by now, what we get, Simon Shepherd, our principal, is going to do the declaration of old scholars, and then we're going to have Chloe, the boys, come up and read a prayer that was written for a leaders' chapel which we ran late in, or early, sorry, term 4, and that'll finish the night. So I won't be back up here. So I'll just take this opportunity to again thank you all for coming tonight. It's fantastic, and wish all the class of 2020 the best of luck in the future. And like I said previously, don't be strangers. You know where we are, and we always love to hear what you're up to. So please drop us a line, stick your head in, send us an email, do whatever you do in terms of the way you communicate. But let us know how you're going. But I certainly do wish you the best of luck, and also thank all the parents for your contributions again to the life at Westminster. So thank you.
It does seem a little bit incredible that we are all here. In a year where this was on, then it was off, then it was on, then it was off. So we held an online version just to make sure we could do all the right things, and it's back on again. It's wonderful that we've got here. It is a fantastic venue. We've been served wonderfully tonight. And can we please thank Tony, Kim, for all their work in making this happen, and the staff from this facility who've made it such a wonderful night. Thank you for being here. It's wonderful to see you all. And it's wonderful to have the class of 2020 back for one last celebration. Before we move on a little bit further, can I just ask all those students who started at Westminster in reception or ELC to stand up, please? All those students who started in reception or ELC. It's been a very long journey for you. A wonderful journey, and now you're branching off into something different when most of your life has been at our school. To the parents of these students, thank you. Thank you for your commitment and the gift of the education you've given them. We hope we've served you well. Thank you. We are a bit of a unique school, and I've taught in schools all over the world, and sometimes you see things which stand out, which are very, very different. And this class demonstrated one of these. Now, I had a speech written and it was all scripted, and then Tony showed the video. And half of it was in the video, so we're not going to go over it again. But last year, I think it was last year, Wal can correct me if I'm wrong, we had some boys decide to do the wrong thing. They jumped in a car, 3 of them, to go to Hungry Jack's or McDonald's and have a bit of an extra feed. And going around one of the corners near Allison Avenue, they attempted a power slide. And losing control of the vehicle, as adolescents often do, they crashed. The driver stayed bravely and stoically with the car, while the 2 young men who were with him got out and fled. Now, in most schools that I've worked in, they would have fled home. But no, these boys ran back to school. They ran back to school to tell Wal what they'd been doing. So boys, that's a wonderful thing you did, and it also shows how safe you feel in the care of someone like Mr. Wallage at our school. It shows us all too that it's a place where the kids feel safe. Now, we live in a society where the silent majority does exactly that. They stay silent. And we sit back and we allow individuals or minority groups to find loose threads on the fabric of our society. They pull on them until they cause something or someone to unravel. Pareto's principle, or the 80-20 rule, is named after an Italian economist who noted that 80% of our problems stem from 20% of the causes. If you took an example, if you're running a truck fleet, 80% of your truck repairs would come from 20% of your fleet. Apply the same principle to society, and 20% of our population cause 80% of our issues. 20% speak out and make a lot of noise, and 80% remain silent. Delighted to say that the class of 2020 has defied Pareto's principle. Collectively, they have not stayed silent. In the face of adversity, they have stayed close together. Instead of retracting into their shells during a challenging year, Under the leadership of Kane and Ruby, they looked for opportunities to be useful, to serve the community they had the privilege to lead. They used the platform and their ability to influence others. In a year where the Year 12s could have bemoaned the extra pressure on them, the changes to their rites of passage, the disruption to their lives, they instead looked for opportunities to serve the community. They led, and they made life as much fun as it could be for themselves and the other students, never forgetting that they're students. Every cohort in a school has formal and informal leaders. The formal leaders gain recognised positions within a school and the informal leaders don't. And when a school community really moves forward, the formal and the informal leaders are working in a synergy. They're moving in the same direction, held together by a common cause. Yes, things will go wrong. Yes, people will do the wrong thing. Yes, we will make mistakes, but we are a school where people are meant to make mistakes. They're meant to learn and grow. And most of us learn through making them. And some of us have to make a few more than others before we start learning. But this cohort has encouraged a great generosity of spirit, and that generosity has given others the courage to speak out, to be strong, and to be more than they thought they could be. Kane and Ruby are two engaging, positive, and emotionally intelligent, mature young leaders, and I'm sure you've all witnessed that tonight. They have been unafraid of trying new things and trying to give those around them opportunities. Tonight, Kane is here with us on what could be the biggest night of his life. He's in the draft and waiting right now to see if his name is called. Yet he got up here and spoke with so much maturity, so much wisdom, that if he ran for Premier, we'd probably all be voting for him. We hope, Kane, regardless of what happens, you know you'll always be on our team list. I'll get there. I'm more sentimental than a drunk poet. The class of 2020 have worked together as a cohort throughout the year. They've supported each other, they've enthused each other, and they've led our school in a hugely positive direction. As a boy growing up and going camping with my dad, he used to always repeat what he called the camping law. Always leave a place better than you found it. The class of 2020 have done this to Westminster, and I hope that now as they leave the school and go out into society, they become the vocal majority, not the silent majority, doing what they've done this year to lead our community, our state, and indeed our nation in a way that is positive and constructive. I would challenge the class of 2020 to reverse Pareto's principle and to ensure the 80% is remembered and at the forefront of the public mind. Kane and Ruby, on the stage, you have a small gift from Susan and I. She doesn't know we bought these, but she always gives generously when I ask her. And they are a small toolkit for you. At school, we try desperately to prepare you for life beyond school, to give you the tools and the skills to use them, to get out there and get started in life. And it's not a bad metaphor. We don't want you to stop collecting tools ever. Remember that, Susan? We've got to keep collecting tools. Literally or metaphorically, because they allow you to do things. They allow you to build things. Very importantly, they allow you to be independent, not codependent. When you don't have the right tool for the job or the right skill, learn it, acquire it, borrow it, buy it. Seek advice, maybe not from Bunnings, no disrespect to those Year 12s who work there, but don't be afraid to keep adding to your toolkits as you go through life. Our sincere hope, and the hope of all the teachers and all the staff who've been a part of your journey, is that you'll go on acquiring all the tools and all the skills that you need for a successful and purposeful life. And we hope you achieve eudaimonia, sensation of happiness because you're living with purpose. Can Kane and Ruby please come forward? Matt, Andrew, these are not for you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being with us tonight. Class of 2020, please stand. Thank you for your time at Westminster, and thank you for all you'll do as old scholars. Thank you, folks.
Our school life in this community has been a journey. Each day a step, each learning a growth. A journey of friendships, lessons, study, activities, sport. As this stage of the journey nears an end, we pause to look back, then look ahead. We acknowledge those who have guided and shown us the way. Parents, teachers, and all who have given to this experience. We are thankful for their influence, support, and caring. Give us a vision now for a future shaped by the path we have already travelled, taking all that has been ours in Year 12 in making us who we are now, to develop, build and create a life of purpose and service, to make a difference for a better world in all the journeys that are yet to come. Amen.